questions.
First one, bang.
Let's do it. Is it possible to gain in weak parts during prep on dieting? It is definitely, but basically it's in the initial parts of prep. So like if your prep is like 8 weeks, usually the first 4 weeks you could still make gains. As those calories drop more and more and more and the cardio is up and up and up, it becomes more difficult. But I think even during that last 4 weeks, you can make the muscle look more conditioned, more diced by giving it more attention. But I do think you can build it during those first half of that prep. What's up, Brandon Lee? Brandon goes, I had a question about glycerol powder, Hydromax, and pre-workout, and if it affects ketosis negatively. It's about 2.5 grams of pre-workout. Absolutely not, Brandon. It doesn't have a glycemic response, so you're good. Okay, more water, less beer. I feel like it should be more beer, less water. So
I didn't even notice the name when I picked it.
Yeah, that's a great name, dude. I love his what is that? His avatar or his emoji or whatever.
It's Waterboy over here.
Waterboy, okay. So how often should weight pull-ups be performed? I mean, I think you could do pull-ups at least 2 to 3 times a week, right? Yeah, you mean.
Some people do them every day. Kai does them every day as a
Every
warm-up.
day, yeah.
I'm back. A lot of people do pull-ups every day on back.
Exactly, yeah. So actually, that's right. A lot of people just start off with pull-ups every single day.
It's a full body workout. I mean,
yeah.
Keeps everything going.
So yeah, I'm good with that. Caden Felix, what's up, my man? That brownie such cake for Ryan's birthday looked amazing. What was in it?
Dude, it was unreal.
Dude.
Stick around for the recipe.
Yeah, stick around for the recipe. But it basically we made a what is it? A peanut butter chocolate chip cookie. Huge peanut butter chocolate chip cookie. Layer of low carb chocolate, okay? Layer of peanut butter. Then we took chocolate caramel hero bars and put a layer of that, another layer of peanut butter, another layer of chocolate. So what you basically have is a cookie with a peanut butter cup on top with hero bars broken up in the middle. Fire.
It was awesome.
Unreal. All right, so Evgen is Azarin IFAP. What's up, man? Is it possible to gain in weak parts during prep on dieting? Yes.
What was it? Oh, yeah.
Kumarin says, on a deload week, should you drop calories slightly? Yes, 100%. Like when you taper, you want to back off your calories at least probably like 10% and really lower the carbs. That's my first advice: is lower the carbs. If you're, or if you're low carb anyway, then just back a little bit off the calories because your activity is less. M. Umamed K says, best chest exercise. I mean, if I were to pick one, I like dumbbell bench. But I mean, everyone's different.
I like dumbbell bench so much more better than barbell, personally.
Yeah, because you can get like full range of motion. You get that peak contraction. You know what I mean? Where you get that. I honestly believe that peak at the top really makes the chest.
I feel
full.
like you can give it more angle too, as far as whenever you come down, as opposed to like bench. You put your shoulders at a weird angle.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally.
Right. And you can really like target it and squeeze at the top.
Damn.
Thanks.
Dang, Doc.
Appreciate it. I've been training hard, man. Thanks.
Do it again.
Sagar Shabda, that's my boy right there from India. What's up, man? I'm actually thinking about coming to India. I want to learn on nutrient programming in detail and how it can benefit from muscle gains. Well, basically the concept, my man, is that after a workout, especially when you're well trained, your muscles are more sensitized. So you want to get a lot of your nutrients around the workout. So a big pre-workout meal, a nice post-workout meal, maybe a meal to follow that up. All around the workout's gonna be very important. Okay, that's the key, my friend. ST Jiggy says, what's a sensible calorie deficit percentage to minimize muscle loss? Probably about 10%. Is a good sensible calorie deficit, but you still want to cycle your calories. Otherwise, that 10% you're gonna go stagnant. You have to lower 10% more. You go stagnant, lower it again. So you want a calorie cycle, probably at least every 5 days. Up your calories to normal for 2 days.
It's also important too. What if they don't know their maintenance?
Yeah, and how do you find your maintenance? Honestly, track on MyFitnessPal. If you track for a week, your weight doesn't change. That's probably your maintenance. Usually we default to maintenance, right? That's why I've been like 182 for like the last year.
Get that question a lot. Whenever people
Paul's
say.
still effing 190 and 191 that following week. He used to be my size. Yeah, I'm a little salty right now. So anyway.
Just squat 405 every day. That's fine.
So yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. But Paul's a monster though in the gym. Squats like 4 or 5 like it's going out of style. So Eric Olson, what's up, Eric Olson? The Muscle Ph.D. Any thoughts / comments on the recent news that adding coconut oil to rice causes resistant starch, resulting in lower calories? That's a good question. I know if you cool down rice, it makes it more of a resistant starch, which means kind of like a fiber. And there is some actually recent evidence that adding coconut oil to rice does make it more resistant to digestion. So I like coconut oil.
But if you're adding fat to
you're
something,
gonna add calories. Yeah.
You're adding calories, so is there a benefit?
Yeah,
in the end. Interesting enough, what about oatmeal? So say what if somebody puts oatmeal in their shake, not cooked as opposed to cooked?
Oh yeah, well inevitably will be more resistant to digestion, yes.
Okay, I feel like a lot of people don't know that difference.
Yeah, it'll be more resistant to digestion. Actually, no, speaking of that, like if I'm eating carbs, I do a thing called oatmeal rice. And I basically just take oatmeal and kind of cook it and prep it like rice. It tastes actually really good.
Really? I didn't know it was a thing.
Dude, take oatmeal, season it like chicken.
There's a lot
like
more.
You would with a rice with chicken. You know what I mean?
Is it really voluminous?
It's voluminous, way less calorie dense, and it tastes just like rice.
Bang. All right, cool.
Really good. Really good.
Good education.
Yeah. Jonathan Lacey 34. What's up, Jonathan Lacey 34? Hey Doc, I recently switched my major to kinesiology. Nice, kinesiology, the study of human movement. And I was wondering, how did you study for anatomy and physiology? I'll tell you what, man. Anatomy and physiology is the bones. That is the heart. That is your foundation as a kinesiologist, okay? Like everything, even physiology, everything stems from understanding anatomy. I still today, pull for my anatomy and physiology class that I took. So what did I do? I treated it like it was my foundation. Okay, it's just like when you first start lifting, you do squats, you do deadlifts, you do bench press. And if you have a weak foundation, the rest of your career is screwed. Same thing with anatomy and physiology. So what did I do? I never stopped studying. I lived, ate, breathed, slept, dreamt. Everything you could imagine, I did with anatomy, right? So basically, like literally. So like I studied it every second. I made note cards. I read the whole book. When I was done with that book, I read another book on it. I bought, you name it, I did it. I went to the cadaver lab. Like I looked at where the fibers were going, and I was like, damn, if I do this exercise, it looks like those striations to where they're headed will activate this part of the muscle. Like I lived it. Then I would read the anatomy book, and I'd take that information, I'd go to the gym, and I'd apply it to myself, right? It's nothing if you don't take that information that's in your anatomy book and apply it to your lifting, it's going to be gone. It's going to go, right? So I was like memorizing the biceps, I'd go to the gym and I'd apply it to the weight room. If I was looking at the quads and studying their insertion points, I tried to figure out how exercise could manipulate that, and I would take it to the weight room. So live it, eat it, breathe it, sleep it. Make it your life.
Do you still learn even today? Are you still learning?
I'm absolutely still learning today 100%. But to be honest, being around these guys, Paul and Andy, they're teaching me stuff every day. Like they've actually become like my teachers in a sense that like they're always learning new information, but every single day I study. Every single day I'm reading papers. I'm delving into the literature. I wake up every morning, like go for a walk. It's nice out in Tampa. I'm listening to stuff, right? I read papers all day long. We're developing the Muscle Ph.D. Academy, which is going to be released in the fall. And during that time, every new piece of literature that you could think of, I'm studying, right? It never ends. Never ends. There you go, guys. Ruberth Valencia. What's up, Ruberth Valencia? How does tapioca fiber impact on keto compared to soluble corn fiber? Think of tapioca fiber as like a low glycemic index carb, almost like a sweet potato or like oatmeal. And think of soluble corn fiber as a true fiber. So you have a small, slow, sustained glucose response with tapioca fiber, moderate or low insulin response. Soluble corn fiber, almost no glucose response and no insulin response. So I hope that answers your question. Tyler McLuckle says, what's up, Ty? What degrees do you have? And I'm interested in your work and studies. I got a degree in like like exercise and nutrition science, or like nutrition with the science for my undergrad, my master's, like sports psychology, motor learning, and exercise physiology, and then my doctorate was centered around skeletal muscle physiology. Just to give you a little backdrop on all those things, with the nutrition and like skeletal muscle physiology on my doctorate, I looked at the impact of various nutrients and how they affect exercise and hypertrophy on a molecular level across lifespan. My master's, I really studied the psychology of training and how, for example, your nervous system responds to training and how it learns new movements like a bench press or a barbell curl or a press, how muscle fibers are recruited and how you can use variables to change and manipulate that. So I hope that answers your question. Francis Lee says, what do you think of putting cinnamon on post-workout shake? Insulin sensitivity? I think it's a great idea. I mean, cinnamon improves insulin sensitivity for hours on end.
What kind of cinnamon?
Well, you know what? There's a couple different kind of cinnamons.
Ceylon.
Yeah, I like
Cassia.
Ceylon and Cassia. A lot of people, do you like Ceylon? What do you like?
Taste-wise, I like Ceylon. That's like your normal thing you'd get at Walmart.
What?
No, Cassia.
Yeah. Cassia is what you get at Walmart. I like Cassia better for taste, but Ceylon's supposed to be safer.
But actually, can we bring that up? Coumarin.
Talk about it.
A lot of people are concerned with coumarin found in cinnamon. It's a huge question anytime we post something with insulin, cinnamon and insulin sensitivity. I was doing some research, and the amount of cinnamon that you would have to consume to get coumarin toxicity is ridiculous. You're talking about like 300 grams a day.
Oh shit!
Which
I'm getting toxicity, dude.
It's like a cup.
No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
It's a ridiculous amount of cinnamon. So
yeah, it's a lot.
I really wouldn't concern it very much. I mean, I take about a tablespoon of cassia cinnamon a day.
Yeah, me too.
And I mean, I don't have any problems with it.
Why? Because it's good. Cinnamon's the best.
I take that tablespoon of cassia too. All right, Paul's like, oh, that explains things. Okay. Now I understand. Gontos33, what's up, buddy? Daily calorie cycling versus cyclic bulking for endomorphs. Personally, I like daily calorie cycling, so daily. Ni Barrera says, does muscle gain become easier when you have less fat to burn when you have a lower BMI? Well, let me say this. If you're more insulin sensitive, and oftentimes being leaner is associated with that, you can build better muscle. There's a theory that's called the set point theory. So for example, myself and my dad Floyd Wilson, we typically default to a body weight of anywhere from 180 to 185. Like if I do nothing, but if I just eat whatever I want and I train once a day, I'm gonna default to 180 to 185. You know, my dad too. That's our sweet spot. And the thought is that when you're at your body's natural set point, you typically can gain muscle, like ideally on the upper range of that because your body feels fine. However, if you bulk hard and I get up to 195 and I become more insulin resistant, it actually becomes harder to gain muscle and I have less of a pump at that point, and that's where calorie cycling may be beneficial. Whereas if I'm dieting below my set point, I'm like 170, it becomes very hard too because my volume's got to be so high, my calories have to be so restricted, and so when I'm training a couple times a day, it becomes more difficult. So that's my theory. Take it or leave it. I am Zshawn21. What's up? I am Zshawn21. Have you ever been in India? Love from India. What's up, man? Actually, we were thinking about heading up to India with Kai Green in the near future. So make sure you hit me up. I'll let you guys know when we're coming down to India. We do have friends in India, and I love India, and looking forward to seeing you guys. Lassie Wade, what's up? Pokolsky posted an article about microcycling food / meals. Maintenance calories are slightly below for some days to increase insulin sensitivity and efficiency when loading carbs again How many days should I go? Great question. What I think lastly essentially is I do think it's a great method. What I recommend essentially is to have like, if you're dieting, for example, I typically go 2 low days, 1 moderate day, 1 high day. Then 1 low day, 1 moderate day, 1 high day. Then 2 low days, 1 moderate day, then 1 high day. That's actually what's giving me the most success. But some people will do 5 days cycling where it's low, moderate, weekends high. You know, and high is probably maybe maintenance or slightly above maintenance. So if you're trying to lose fat, that's what you're going to do. If you're trying to gain muscle, you're going to switch it. 2 high, 1 moderate, 1 low. 1 high, 1 moderate, 1 low. Does it make sense? All right, cool. Oakens Comments. Do you think that core training is necessary for improving athletic performance in sprinters, or just necessary? Well, a lot of people just think abs when they think core. You got to think low back too, right? So I do think, like, if you're doing deadlifts, that's core training in a sense, right? So I do think that training your core can be important. Do I think doing like 5,000 crunches is important? Maybe not. You know, for athletic performance, of more heavier loaded movements could be beneficial. Frederico Bronco, what's up, dude? When should I put my carbs on a low carb day? Before your workout. Boom.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Abdul Kader Acid. Which supplements do you prefer in a cutting season? HMB, branched chain amino acids, whey protein, creatine, phosphatidylserine. You know, you could throw in some caffeine if you like that stuff to keep your energy up, your metabolism up.
I like caffeine.
Yeah.
Andy, you love caffeine.
Yeah. Medium chain triglycerides. Boom. All right. Jakov Jukic says, how does lack of creatine supplement affect 1RM, etc., bench press? I know ATP-PC process is not engaged in, but what about cell hydration? How does it affect contraction? Okay, real quick, 1RM definitely uses ATP-PC, so it does engage it. So creatine supplementation will help your 1RM. As far as cell hydration, creatine will likely increase cell hydration. Take it. How does it affect contraction? It improves it. Lift 4 donuts. Lift?
I like it. I like the name.
I like that. Lift for donuts. Okay, cool. Great name. That's almost as good as like more beer, less water.
These names are perfect today.
Yeah. What's up? Lift 4 Donuts says, what are the best ways to grow your legs despite having 2 knee surgeries and sacroiliitis? Oh, I'm going to answer your question like this. Blood flow restriction is probably your best bet, and pre-fatigue. Okay, so I had an injury for the last 6 weeks, and I had it for a couple weeks. Basically, all I could do was like, I couldn't load my spine. And so at that point, I did a lot of blood flow restriction, and I did like, the problem is that your volume, I think, has to be so much higher. Like if you do squats, you do a couple sets of squats, bang out a strip set on leg press, and you're out of the gym. When you can't do that, your volume's got to be a lot higher. So you've got to be more detailed. You're going to do leg extensions, you're going to do leg curls, you're going to do the adductor machine, you're going to do the adductor machine, right? You're going to have to go real light on legs. I recommend finding a gym that has like prime fitness equipment, because the area that might be hurting your knees, you can adjust the load so that unloads that area. But again, higher reps. If you're doing blood flow restriction, you do up to 30 reps, 40 reps sometimes. So that's my advice. Head on over to themusclephd.com and boom. Is that gonna run out? Is it gonna die?
You're good.
Okay, good.
Oh, you're plugged in.
Oh, you're plugged in. Thanks, buddy. Yana Jankina. Oh, what's up? It's a really, really cool name there. Yana. I think it's Yana. Thoughts on certain carb sources, sensitivity, and glucose levels on an individual basis for athletes? Well, I think everything's got to be individualized, right? And I think that's key. So if you don't respond to carbs very well, make sure your carb sources are low glycemic, okay? So that's very, very essential. Make sure that your carbs are lower glycemic and high in fiber, right? So I think that's the main key. So if you can handle more carbs, have the higher glycemic carbs maybe after your workout, that's really the only time, and et cetera, et cetera.
Can you read it?
Okay. Which way of carb restoration is best before a show? Fast food night before? No. Or increasing carbs during the last week before the show? It's very tricky.
It's the typical person. What do they just jump in it?
Like, we actually, like, if you're looking at Ray, if you're on, we actually went through this with you last week. We'll trade it.
With our kind of helped them out, but it's dependent person to person. I mean, some people can like crap load their food the night before, the day of the show, where they're eating burgers and pancakes and fries. But other people, I mean, if you're someone that hyper responds to sodium, and you're gonna hold on to a lot of water, then it's probably not the best idea, because you're gonna be bloated on stage.
Yeah, I hyper respond to sodium, for example.
We can look at Trey. Trey was at what, 1,000 carbs? Trey was at like roughly, Ray. Ray like consumed like 1,000 carbs and still didn't fell completely. I did a show a while ago and I was at 180 carbs and I spilled over.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very dependent.
It's person
Dependent
to person.
on the individual.
You really just need to like
Test it out on yourself.
3-4 weeks out from the show,
Yes.
be stage ready.
Yeah.
And then 3-4 weeks out from the show, when you are stage ready, test it on yourself. Load a bunch of sodium, drink some water, and do what you think you should do, and see how you respond. If you hold a bunch of water because of that sodium, then maybe go back the other way. Maybe deplete water, deplete sodium, and maybe try to just fill up with drier carb sources. But it's really dependent person to person.
Love it. Love it. Thanks. Wisdom from Andrew Barninger. Caden Felix says, with the new knowledge of exogenous BHB benefits, do you still recommend taking HMB from your awesome studies? Are they synergistic, and would you dose HMB if so? Right now, there's a lot. We need more studies on how they interact with each other. So for now, I just take them both. When ASBI will launch the courses, I am Zizon 21. We're planning on launching Muscle PhD Academy in the fall, late fall, I'd say.
Specific date has not been set, but we will just continue to tell you guys whenever we find out more.
But we're working diligently. Boom. Okay,
You
here
said a
we
long
go.
day.
Rapid.
Okay, you know what? Guess what, guys? I just heard it. I heard the go. It's rapid
Are
fire.
you excited? Are you excited? Let's get into
No,
it.
I'm pumped.
There we go.
So, guys, remember the rules on rapid fire. As much as I want to answer your questions in detail, I can't. I have to answer them rapidly.
So we can
okay?
get to more of you.
So it's going to be rapid fire. Does that make sense, guys? So here we go. Julian Pisa says, hey, Doc, if you have a P and a C meal, higher glycemic carbs, do you limit the amount of fat? Yes. I can't do low squats because my low back is stiff, which I do. Don't do low squats. Matthew Rosa says, train your glutes. Will it be a good idea to add cinnamon in a post-workout shake? Will it help maintain insulin? Yes. Kinetic gains. What's the new research on optimal rest times for muscle growth? Auto-regulate your rest. Federico Bronco says, how much attention should we pay to amino profile of a whey protein? I'm asking because I heard pay a lot of attention because amino acids, the profile could be spiked. Apollo X says, have you studied the effect of muscle hypertrophy with intermittent fasting for fat loss? Is it possible? Yes, but keep the fast to no more than 16 hours. N. Barrero says, do you agree that only 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein is needed to gain muscle? Yes, but not to optimize it. What's up, Doc? What type of cardio do you find the most effective? High intensity interval training. Julian Piesa says, Doc, you mentioned that you focus heavy on research papers as and when they are published, but it could take years to come some studies to validate training and nutrition learn. Yes, because the scientific community is slow as a snail. And so there's other mechanisms we need to get the information out. Pedro Gomez Romero says, if I bulk on high fats and more moderate fats versus high carbs, there will be differences in muscle mass and fat mass gain. I think you'll gain less fat on a low carb, very high fat diet. Federico Bronco says, what BCAAs do you think is racial? Do you think age is a 2 to 1 to 1 product? Yes, because it mimics muscle. Twitch5219 says, is it physically a good idea for a man 48 years, I'm going to say young, to lift primarily in the 4 to 6 rep range or higher reps recommended? Higher reps recommended. Robert Bobby Judy says, how to train when injured, blood flow restriction. Film and Fitness says, when hitting a plateau and weeks has passed and still can't find your way back, what can I do to get back? Take all the exercises you've been doing and change them entirely. Heather Isaacs Weaver says, how do you find your set point? What do you naturally default to, Heather? That's what your set point is. Ivan L. Bear Ab says, how important is fiber intake to weight loss? Very important. Eric Vigil says, best form of HMB, free acid. I am Zizan21 says, how many hours should we sleep? So at least 8. Yana says, if you incorporate cycling with isolations of high power, will it have any benefit for strength gains? Yes, tremendous.
What to look for in the whey protein?
Don't only whey protein. Don't look for fillers or ingredients. If you have ingredients in front of that, you're screwed. Eric Olson says, what was the point of adding raw oats into a protein shake? You guys, well, the raw oats are more difficult to digest, so it's slower glycemic. Samir Kumar 1991, sir, should we take carb with protein shake after a workout? If you're not a low carb athlete, sure. Julian Pleska says, does insulin negate the effects of Yohimbe HCl? If yes, yeah, research thinks it is, so you should separate the two. Should we go for cheat reps on bicep curl? Yes, once you've gone to failure. Where can I get ASPI polos? Oh, well, we'll launch them soon, Lassie. I freaking love it. William Wallace, you watching this, see if you can talk to Sam about that. Patrick Rich Ford says, I thought cinnamon helps insulin not to shoot up as much. Isn't that what you want post-workout? You don't need insulin to raise that much, my friend, only in a small amount. So keep it sensitive. Leslie Bacon says, exogenous ketones and concussions, how soon do you administer? You should be taking them before any bout where you can get a concussion and immediately after and during the recovery period. What's the best way to kick leptin levels up after it is lowered from diet? Calorie cycle. Eric Olson, rapid. Will we ever get to see the doc supplement cabinet?
Oh man, cabinets.
Yeah, cabinets. Next time you guys come to my place, I'll open up the cabinets. Love you, buddy.
All right, here's the final question right here.
Demetrius Petta says, is it worth getting a PhD degree or a master's, etc. is enough? Can I elaborate on this?
Yeah, wait, an exercise physiology,
an
is
exercise
that enough?
physiology.
So PhD or master's, is it enough to get just a
I've
master's?
seen people walk out with PhDs and not be able to even start a career. Okay, so let me say this for a second. My dad always said, always emphasized education, and I always knew since I was a little kid I wanted to be a scientist. For me, the only way to do that was to be in academics. Okay? And to be in academics and be a scientist, the requisite was a PhD. Do I think it added a lot to me? To be quite honest, not really. Most of what I learned was outside of school. And to be quite honest with you, most of what I learned was on my own. The PhD was honestly made me, it was a formality. It took away tons of my life. I had to study one topic. I actually learned less because of it. And it was this old school 1945 method of getting let's have Wilson suffer 100 hours a week and, live on peanuts while he's an indentured slave. That's the PhD program. Now I got it. I should be going, yeah, you should get it too. I think it's great. Do you need it? Depends on your goals. Today, what we're showing with ASPI is you don't need to be an academic to be a scientist. We have the world's #1 lab. We do. We have the #1 lab on human performance. People in academics hate on us for that. Too bad, because we're going to keep building more and more. Our lab, we have 21,000 square feet. It's going to be 42,000 square feet before you know it. And then bigger and bigger and bigger. And guess what? We're not in academics. We'll keep doing science. People will keep saying, oh, you should be in academics. We're not. So you do what you want to do, right? And that's the last thing I want to say. That's it. Reach your dreams, my friend, but keep studying hard. That is key.
Until next time.
Till next time, this is Dr. Jacob Wilson. I'm signing off with Andrew Barninger and Paul Hauser, the 3 Musketeers. Love you guys. See you. Bye.